Jamie didn't notice that I'm moving the microphone to me.
Thank you. We all appreciate it.
I'm just, too many years being yelled at.
Hey, you know, at the
Hi, Chris.
housing meeting, when you were here, the microphone was underneath the desk on the other side of you. It was nowhere near you.
Okay. Let's go ahead and open the Howrich Affordable Housing Trust. It's okay, Christine, we'll open anyway. Meeting for March 12th, 2024, daylight savings time. So I assume we're all caught up on sleep. And we will start with public comment. Bruce, you want to give us an update on the fire station apartments? And
Good afternoon, Bruce Young, President of the Howard Fire Association. I'd just like to give you a quick update on 203 Bank Street. I finally signed all the documents today to release the money that you so generously gave to us. We're now going to be able to move forward with finishing off those 3 apartments on the 2nd floor. I know it's been a lot of hard work by everybody on this board, the members of the Fire Association, and I can finally say it's going to get done. So thank you so much for all your time, your effort, blazing the trail to be the first one to get some housing in this town for the people that really need it.
well, and yeah, thanks to my colleagues here. And Bruce, your group has done a fantastic job. It's been a lot of hoops to jump through, and I've signed my part for the rest of as the committee. So it goes next to the Harwich Conservation Trust for them to sign. And Joel's passed an email, copied me on an email today to our town treasurer to send the money to you. So
Yes, I got that email as well.
so that should happen. And I do want to thank Joel for his help, because he's been getting the information out and working with you and your attorneys and group to get it done. So
There's a lot of people out there that need to be thanked because never doing this before, that there's a lot of people that we had to ask questions for, attorneys and the town administrator, the girls downstairs in the offices, everybody's really chipped in to try and get this. Brianna Powell, everybody's really worked hard to try and get this affordable housing through.
it's been a good, necessary learning curve.
It was definitely a learning
I don't
curve.
know how good it is, but a necessary
Yeah.
learning curve.
Thank you so much.
Bruce.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yay.
Good luck with everything. Thank you.
Let me just, public comment, let me state for the record that our next meeting will be at 5 o'clock on the second Tuesday, which is what, April 9th, I think. And we don't change quickly. We had 2 meetings at 4:30 and somehow that got into concrete, but we'll be at 5 o'clock. The other thing I'd like to comment is that Bob Dillon and I just came from a quarterly housing meeting from the Community Development Partnership, in which they were talking about local preference, what you need to do to have local preference. And Bruce has, I know that one of the categories you can put in for local preference is municipal employees,
Right.
which I didn't know that. There's
Yeah.
other categories as well, but that's
Yeah.
and we can do 70%, so that does give you some more, maybe some help on the fire and police departments.
That will help.
It was an interesting meeting. I had to leave a few minutes early. The reason I bring it up is that I will, they promised the slides of the presentation, and I'll forward them to you.
Oh, thanks. That'd be
So
great.
you'll see what they have. It's been some interesting, and I'll forward you a copy of that to you, Bruce, as well. It's been an interesting discussion.
The other thing too is just getting down there to get that picture done.
Oh, I got that in my notes. Bruce is threatening to throw a tantrum if we don't come down and get a picture taken, to congratulate everyone involved for getting this completed. And Bruce, I guess you're responsible for the sunshine, actually, but otherwise.
Well,
do
the
you have
last
a
time everybody
preference?
came down there for a tour, it was not a very nice day.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll be a sunny day to have
It's a
this
rainy
picture
day,
taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's think that over about who should be invited, because we want to make it a broad, who do you think, Bruce? What's your inclination?
Well, I think the Affordable Housing Trust Committee, Brianna Powell, Joe,
Oh,
yep,
yep,
Megan,
yep,
the more the merrier.
Okay.
Everybody that's been involved.
okay,
I can get the attorneys here too if you'd like.
Love it. And you'll get your folks on your end.
We'll have all our folks on
Okay,
our end, they'll be there, yeah,
Awesome.
okay.
yeah.
I think the attorneys will charge, so let's.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that.
Do you have a preference for, should we shoot for next week sometime?
Sure.
Does you guys have a preference, or should we share some, maybe this time, maybe Tuesday, next Tuesday at 5? Is that too late?
Tuesday at
5 o'clock would be fine by me.
That gives, Julie must got tied up. That does give Julie a chance to get here then at 5.
3:19 at 5.
Let's tentatively set that for a meeting at the site,
Yeah, at Bank Street,
at Bank Street.
Yep.
Okay.
A site
Have a
visit
picture?
as
A
opposed
site
to a
visit?
meeting?
At
Yes.
5
site visit,
Yeah,
for photo.
and all the workers there will be gone by then too, so
so it'll be quiet.
it'll be quiet.
Okay. That
Cool.
sounds good.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Lord of the Sunshine.
Let's move on then to the old business. And Brianna, are you the big B?
Excuse me?
I'm talking Brianna.
I just put it in my calendar.
Yep, that's me. Sorry, took me a minute.
Thank you, Brianna. Thanks for joining us. Next two agenda items are the status of the appraisal. Do you have an update on that?
I'm sorry, I have a little helper with me,
Oh, good.
and I didn't quite hear you.
Okay,
She
well,
just
nice
finished
picture,
eating.
yeah,
So
you're-
can you
Yeah.
repeat that?
Well, good. Way.
Oh,
good-
she asked you to repeat it.
Oh,
She
I
had
have
it.
two agenda items. One is, we'd ask for an appraisal of the, J1/J2, so on properties. Do you have an update of that, where that stands?
I don't currently. Joe and I have been meeting, but that's not something I've worked on yet. Only back part-time right now, but I'll work on that.
Okay. And then, how about the RFP for the 456 property? You have an update on where
Yeah.
that stands?
I do have an update for that one. So they believe they're gonna be able to get it published in the Central Register, mid-April. And then probably, responding back to the bidders around June 12th, middle of June.
Okay, so what is the process then? It goes into the central register, it's been sent in?
Yep, that's correct. So it goes into the Central Register, and you're given a certain amount of, you're gonna give them probably bidders like 9 weeks to respond. And then you'll review the responses, grade them, and then select the best bidder, one that fits best, and that would be around June 12th.
June 12th, okay. All right. So I guess
I'm still here.
well, you're going to destroy us. We're looking at your baby girl, actually, so.
Yeah.
Brianna, what's her name again?
Her name is Corey.
Corey.
Sweet.
So
Yes.
if we have any questions, we'll ask Corey.
Yeah, she can give you the answer. She's the boss of me.
Okay. Well, right, is there anything that we need to do to further the RFP?
Just, I think that you and I are meeting on Wednesday.
Right.
We can discuss that then, and
Okay.
then, go over that
Okay,
at a later date.
all right, thank you.
Not much, you guys, I think you just need to determine
I see that.
exactly how long you want to give the bidders to respond. But the suggested timeline is, 8 to 9 weeks.
Okay. Well, good. Julie, thanks for making it. My apologies, we had some confusion on the start date.
No, no problem, I'm sorry. Works and nuts.
But just,
I'm gonna
we
mute
have
myself.
Corey's helping us out, so we do have someone of reason. Just very quickly, Julie,
Yep.
you didn't, it's a short agenda today, but we did just sign off on
Oh,
the,
great.
and so your responsibility now is to,
Get it back. I got it. Well,
part
so
of that.
not to
And
get
we
off-
are, we did decide a week from today at 5 o'clock again
Okay.
to show up at the fire station, have a group picture
Oh,
to
nice.
acknowledge signing the documents moving forward.
Great.
And I think that's about, did we cover anything else?
Just the meeting date, the next meeting date.
Will be at 5 o'clock. We're moving them to 5 as we promised. This one got moved partly. Got on the calendar at 5, but not on the agenda at 5.
Okay.
Now, and the appraisals, I'll check on that again tomorrow with Brianna, but that apparently hasn't started yet on that action, Bob, so we'll keep after it.
Thank you.
The next item on new business then is I sent you an email, the town has 3 properties on Queen Anne Road that it is considering declaring a surplus so it can dispose of it. And that's interesting discussion because Julia, you might be on the 2 of those properties at least we've brought up before a couple times,
Yeah.
and they got turned down at town meeting. We have one very vocal spokesman arguing that we're crazy to get rid of any town property because one of his kids might, or grandkids might want to use that for housing sometime in the future. And so we lost both times. In fact, I won't go any further than that, actually. So it'll be an interesting town discussion because that's been not the first time. Now, I'm told Elaine's reminded me and that these are both in the industrial, zoned industrially. So it's not clear what we can do with it. You know, I always come back, the question is are they worthwhile doing anything to, we always change zoning, you know, we go to town meeting at the same time and request some zoning changes if that were
Right.
of interest.
Right.
The second comment I'd make in that, and then I'll stop, is I hate to go back into history when I was on the select board, is that sometimes you bring these to a town meeting and there's reluctance to move forward on the assumption that the money will just get thrown into the general fund and it won't do what they hope to. So I think one of the options if we don't want to move would be possibly a motion to ask the select board to, if they consider directing that money to a housing fund.
So just to follow up on that, you know, we had the property on Queen Anne sell
Yeah.
last year, and that's going to go in an article to bring to town meeting to spend on owners unknown. That's the intention.
Right.
So I don't think there'd be a lot of pushback on that,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of
Right.
directing the
Yeah.
money into a certain.
Because thank you very much, Julia. What I remember is there's some inclination, people like it better if you're getting money if it's going somewhere, directed.
Right.
Elaine?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Elaine Shovlin, I'm Chair of the Real Estate and Open Space Committee. These 3 properties were brought to our attention and asked for our support by our liaison, Mr. McCaskill. And as the letter said that you may probably received, the properties were evaluated, walked, determined that they're not really suitable. They're not suitable for housing. It is in industrial zone. It wouldn't be good for housing. One of the properties may be of some use for the water department. They're talking about sometime in the future, they may need to run some pipes and conduit under Route 6 to the other side. That would be on the 246 Queen Anne Road. So the thought is that when the deed is done, that there would be an easement placed there that if and when the water department ever needed it, they would be able to use a portion of that to do that project. The whole purpose of this, Mr. McCaskill's aim, is to sell these properties and use that money to clear $3 million worth of owners unknown and miscellaneous properties off that tax lien list. But our committee we fully support that because that's what we've all been working on trying to do. But everyone is concerned because they want to make sure, again, that any money received, any revenue, goes into a fund that would, again, pay for research and surveys and tax title and all that stuff to help clear those owners unknown properties. We had identified 3 areas in the town that were really important areas. One is almost 30 acres that needs to be looked at. There's a lot of owners unknown and miscellaneous in that area, and we feel that they need to be protected. They're really high priority, and money from this and money from that other property will help resolve some of that. Things are starting to work. There is some progress being made in the assessor's office. A member of our committee, Dave Callahan, has worked very hard. He's walked every piece of land, I think, in Harwich, and knows all the trails. He does boundary work for HCT. So, and he's corrected some of the maps, and he's found some of the properties that never had a map or parcel number on them, and he's kind of resolved some of that. So that's starting to really take shape now. So it takes an infusion of money. We all know it's very expensive to do these things, but the only way to, like we always say, sometimes you gotta spend money to make money. Well, if you can spend $1 or $2 million to clear $3 million worth off the tax rolls and get some of that property taxed again, then it's worth the effort to put that money out. So we fully support it, and we hope, you all will too. But honestly, there's, if we thought there had been for housing, we would have made that suggestion. But the location, the abutting properties, it's not, they're not really suitable for housing at all. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. I'll go, comments, go on the table.
How far out on Queen Anne are these properties?
172 and 178 are 2 lots together. If you're,
Directly across from the landfill.
well, no, they're a little further down. They are west of the Cape destinations, where the buses are. That property abuts them on that side, and the other side is some woodworking person or something on the other side. 246 is further east. There's, trying to think about it might be like closer towards the
Brendan's studying his
The
map
dump.
right now, so.
but there's a storage
Can we put it up?
storage bin, contractor bins, and it's the property in between. Oh, she didn't have map numbers on. Oh, I have map numbers. Yeah, 246 is,
It looks like it's
Map
left of,
58.
left of the storage.
yeah. And right now, they're filled with garbage and trash, and all the abutters have been throwing junk over in there, so, again, they need to be cleaned up. But, I know in the past, those 172 and 178 did come up. I was around when that all happened, and
Yeah.
you know what? Times have changed, needs have changed. And again, being as it's zoned industrial, there's not much else you can do.
Bob?
Do you know if anyone's been in touch with the family pantry relative to the possibility of parking there? Is it
No.
approximate?
They're already working on, matter of fact, they mean with the planning board. They're already expanding their parking behind the pantry there to make that lot bigger. Yeah, there was a desperate need for parking there. They have had so many new clients. My husband volunteers there, so I get the newsletter. Sometimes the shifts change, and one shift has to actually leave early, so the second shift can park.
Right.
So that's a problem, but no, it's
Okay.
pantry. And I know this probably came to you all because real estate and open space for years, every year we'd send out a letter to every town department asking if anybody had any interest in any property or was looking for property that we could work on. we never got too many responses, you know, water department and, you know, recreation and all those. And actually, one of our committee members, Bob Thomas, if you remember Bob, he used to actually follow up with phone calls or go to the offices, and, because we didn't get a lot of response. But I know from town administrator that, because 30B and whatever, again, they had to go out to all the town departments. Julian Monk, I think I'm correct on that. He has sent out a notice asking all the departments in town if they had any interest in this. And I think that's why
That's
you
why
all
we got it.
that's why you got it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's it, yeah.
not necessarily thinking that you might be interested in having it for, it was just something that had to be done to make it all legal. Okay? Good?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Claudia?
I guess, I don't know where it is, so it'd be nice to see it. I know, with Queen Anne, even though it's industrial, there are homes scattered around there, so it would be interesting to know, like, how many acres and, I don't know what
Each of
this,
Each of the
this
three
group
lots
feels
are
like.
a little less than an acre each.
Yeah.
Okay. And was it something that the housing looked at and decided it wasn't?
We, as far as I know, we've never looked at for housing.
Like
We-
anyone's
No, we
looked
haven't.
Oh,
we're-
thank
We're
you.
trying to sell it. The town,
industrial zone is not all of Queen Anne Road.
No,
No.
the portion down at the other end where Davenport has built some houses
Right.
is not.
Is it restricted only to industrial, or can you have other?
So, to Larry's point, you could also look to change the zoning bylaws.
But by right, as it
By
sits
right,
right,
it's industrial.
it's all industrial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those three parcels are industrial.
so that makes it more complicated. I
Mm.
just don't want to automatically throw it out until we consider
Right.
the options.
The ones down, to your point, by the pantry, down that way,
Yeah.
are not far from other residential
Here they are.
homes.
Yeah, oh, you got it.
Yeah, they seem to be sort of scattered, right, in there?
On the other end of Queen Anne.
Yeah.
So this isn't where those are?
Not really, no. But they're not terribly far from, because you can see on the GIS map on the 178 and 176, they're up
Do you have
by
it
that
up?
little cul-de-sac.
Can I look?
Wait, what are we looking at?
I just want to look at it on a map.
Oh, yeah. So storage, here's the bigger lot, and here's the double lots.
And what's across the
You
street
can
from the
see
double
the-
lots?
This is really the,
But if you go up a little further.
well, I can't expand the map.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can't.
I don't
Oh,
have-
I
I don't
have
have the
it.
full map.
Yeah.
But what's across the street, like all of this, and the abutters, or that's where the woodworking and?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
We can get like a regular map and check it out, but
Yeah, I'm new to the group, so I don't know if you've thought about it or looked at it, I'm just asking about if there's homes kind of scattered throughout that area, is it ruling it out, or is it not? So I'm open to whatever you have
Yeah.
all discussed.
I think we should look at them, you know.
Yeah, what's the timeframe, Julie, to,
Well, I mean, they're being
the
drafted.
town meeting?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to town meeting.
Right.
And so the articles, you know, we voted on them last night to move them forward.
Okay.
So it's moving.
Yeah.
You know.
And so our vote actually today is whether we dispose of them, right? We could come back with some suggestions
Yeah.
at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And
so
I
if
think we're all
everybody-
in favor of disposing, doing something with them. Because they're just sitting there.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
by disposing it, meaning we're talking about selling, we are all in favor of selling versus considering for housing?
I think it's fair enough that you're only talking about them tonight if you wanted to give another week or two to look at them. I mean, it's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be an adventure to change zoning, which we'd have to do.
Well, we're holding off on zoning stuff and if we have a fall town meeting. So we've
Okay.
tabled all zoning stuff because
Yeah.
we've run out of time really on that.
Oh,
So, in other words, if there was some interest, you could look to do that
Do
at the
that.
fall town meeting.
Right. On the other hand, Elaine makes a point that we could use the funds to get some more property in as
Right.
well. And that's what you've decided as select board, is go that route pretty
Well,
much?
we're gonna move them forward in terms of putting them up for sale, go to town meeting to see if they're willing to sell them, and that would be back to more of what Elaine's talking about.
Okay.
You know, the other parcel was larger, that was sold, I forget the address on Queen Anne, but, you know, it yielded 1.5 million. There's not a lot of industrial zone property left. That's our only area that's
Yeah.
industrial zoned.
Meaning it's in demand, or what is, okay.
Yeah, because there's certain things you just can't do in other districts that you can in the industrial, and there's just not that much land left
Yeah.
over there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Brendan?
I mean, I would love to take a look at the use table. I mean, Christine, have you looked into these properties at all? As far as where they sit on the use table, is it just industrial or?
Just industrial.
Only, you can only do industrial? I mean, I sat in on a couple of forums, and someone there, I don't know who it was, made a comment that, you know, you can never get industrial back once it's gone. And towns are limited on that, but of course, we want housing. So, I mean, if it's gonna go the way of industrial, I don't know if they're gonna deed restrict it or it just stays in that zone, they probably don't have to deed restrict it. Then, you know, and it's already been vetted through real estate and open space, and Michael seems to be on top of it. Obviously, if we can get some money, that'd be great, but, you know, other than that, it seems, you know, if it's not zoned at all for any, just keeping it with industrial seems right.
Okay.
I could see why they want to sell it, so.
Julie, final additional thoughts?
No, you know, we're moving forward to bring them to town meeting for that purpose. But if there's any interest, I mean, of course, this is to the point, this is why we're going around to all the
You're
different
right.
departments. So, you know, Brendan's point is well taken. It is industrial, and as I've said, there's not a lot of industrial property left, so
Yeah.
it's,
Maybe
even
better.
though it's a smaller parcel, I can imagine it's gonna yield
Yeah.
decent money.
Yeah, I mean, it's virtually impossible to go to a town and say, hey, we want to convert residential to industrial. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
So I think our goal, just working with conservation, industrial needs, stuff that has to be on the tax rolls and housing, I think we have to be mindful of all of that.
Okay, other discussions, are we, I think what we need now is, if we want to go this way, is a motion to formally, from our perspective, declare it, we agree with declaring it surplus.
I'll make the motion that we declare it surplus from our point of view.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Now, it seems like the thing to do. I always look at property and say, geez, can we put a house in there, but we'll, it is what it is. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Are we going to put the caveat on it that we want to make the motion to include that we want the funds to go to housing?
Well, I think they've already decided to
Yeah.
move it to,
Right, the monies will go, the money will have to go into
Oh.
a fund, and then the funds will
Will
be
go to
dedicated
find-
to going back to owners unknown and
But-
trying to
Got it.
identify those
Right.
parcels,
But,
get them back
but
on the tax roll.
Okay,
save that thought.
That's what the
because
article is going to say.
That's what the
I
article.
would
will
say,
be.
save that thought, because we're gonna wanna argue to get some of that money into housing when they reap the benefits, I think.
Yeah, and then, as you know, Larry, there's always stipulations as to how the monies can be used and depending on.
Right.
Well, I think if there's, can I ask a question? Do we know how much it's gonna cost to do the work, to find the owners unknown and all, like, so if we get 3 million from the selling of it, and it's gonna be approximately 1 million to do the footwork to find out of owners unknown, then there's 2 million left over, can that be part of the discussion? I don't know if it's known, or if it just all goes into the pool to find that, and then if there's any left over someday.
Well, it's very expensive, not only just because, well, Brendan knows, not only because of surveys and assessment and all that, but also if any of it's taken by eminent domain, then the value, the money has to be put into escrow for 3 years, so that some funds have to be set aside. So, and they'll eventually come back because, but to Larry's point, keep in mind, some of the properties that we have recommended, if they go through this process and they are, deeded over to the town, taken off either by foreclosure or eminent domain, many of those properties, the reason we selected them was for housing. So housing will benefit in the end, because a lot of them are potential housing sites. So it's not like you're shut out. But, you know, housing has been considered when we looked at these properties. Some of it, there are some, a little bit for conservation, but there's spots around that are very suitable for housing, especially in the 30 acres. There's a lot in there besides conservation, water department, and housing could all. So keep
Okay.
that in mind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what was the vote?
We didn't vote yet. All in favor? We made the motion in second, but I don't think we actually
No,
voted.
we didn't vote.
I think we did it.
We did.
It's really just to support it.
Let's just
Right.
support it,
It's
yeah.
just supporting it.
She was asking the question about
Okay,
earmarking the funds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that was my point, Yeah, stay tuned, because we'll want to keep track of that, as Elaine
Yeah.
says,
Okay.
when property comes over. Okay, thank you. We have, the next part I put on the agenda, kind of a brain dump, if you will.
Yep.
But, yeah, we've done what we've done. Bruce, we've talked about the Harwich Fire Association. We got the RFP going. What's next? We have a couple properties that I thought we'd have the appraisal started by now. Apparently it hasn't, but we'll follow up on that. But we've been working, Brent and I have been working on, we put an application into CPC for rental assistance fund. They asked a series of questions, which I think I've responded to, and they meet again on Thursday, so I'm hoping they will approve that. I was at a meeting that I mentioned before, just coming to this, and I look at my notes. One of the towns, Chatham, I guess, excuse me, Brewster, they have a rental assistance program that they have run for some time. They've been funding, providing assistance to 10 renters. It's, it's not huge. It's like 175 or $200,000. This year they're expanding it to 200. They have people that are looking for rental assistance. And the CPC, and I'll speak and Bob will interrupt me if I get this wrong, but CPC in the last meeting I was at, my sense was they generally were supportive, but they needed more detail. They wanted more information about who's going to run the program and what the administrative costs would be. And I've contacted other towns and called around and emailed, and I do have I think I've answered those questions at least the best I can. So we'll see whether they move forward or not. They're doing their job to be sure that they're fiscally responsible of, before they give money, how's it going to be spent? And so I've
Can I ask
advised.
a question
Sure,
on that?
Ken,
So if that would be rental assistance for the renters,
right.
okay. I wonder about, what I'm noticing, right, is like, so when the apartments came for Harwich Center, they were all, 2,500, things like that. I didn't know if there's any idea around working with the people who own the properties to, market it as, if you are willing to do this at an affordable rate, we'll make up the difference as long as it's, year-round affordable. Just trying to incentivize.
I think it's a deed restriction that stops that.
Oh, is it?
Or it doesn't stop it, but it can be a problem for a lot of owners.
Oh,
That leads me into, thank you, Claudia and Brenda. That leads me into another thing you read about, or it kind of gets to your point, Claudia, more of a buy-down program, which is more directed towards the property itself. And I'll send you guys some more. I don't want to bury you with this stuff right now. I've been spending more time before the basketball tournament starts looking at this stuff. But they have been buy-down programs, but Harwich had one, or at least tried to get one a few years ago. Found an article that Jerry Loftus, who we all remember fondly, he was in charge of, he was a chair of the housing committee for some time and very aggressive supporting housing. But he had one they put through some years ago that got approval of the board of finance and the various players, and it got shot down at at town meeting. And I'll send this to you. The reason he got shot down basically was that Richard Waystack, who knows a lot about real estate, said that with the real estate market at that time, it probably didn't make sense. And a better way of handling it was to, if we could incentivize tax credits as another way to help developers out. And he made a good point, and so that, and then it didn't come back. It's been done at Wellfleet, and Eastham did it. Had a buy-down program that had moderate success. Part of the problems they had with developers accepting it, because Brendan, you stole my thunder on this, but it was because of deed restriction. Wasn't that well received. Forget, another town did it, Eastham maybe, did it successfully. So it's had mixed reviews, and there's some options out there. What I'm proposing is to, if there's interest in this, is maybe a couple of you can pick this up and go after it. You know, I can help you out with what I have. But I think there's some options. We need to help out some of the, and I like the tax credit idea. As a possible, it would be not a tremendous amount of money, but might get something going. And it's something we could do as a trust right away. But you know, the town is clamoring sometimes for smaller development groups. This might be something we can do to help. The other program, think about that. And I'm not letting you off the hook yet. I'm moving on.
Okay, can I ask a quick question before
Sure.
we move on? So do we know for the Section 8s, are they all fully utilized from the Housing Authority?
I don't know that.
Okay. I just wonder if we're thinking rental assistance, it'd be interesting to see if they have like a waiting list. I mean, I could get in touch with Liz and ask her, but I don't know if she's the head of the Housing Authority, or?
Go ahead. I don't, yeah. I don't know the answer. Do you?
No, I don't, but I was gonna add to that. I always thought the rental assistance program would be a great housing committee to team up with them to work on that. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah, and they have, again, Liz knows it.
And they have Liz, yeah, exactly. She'd be
Right.
great for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's an excellent point, because I went to the last housing committee meeting. We have to work very closely together. I think.
Yeah.
There's another, I want to come back to that subject too, but Julie?
So I can only speak to my knowledge, which dates back a while, because I dealt
Yeah.
with a lot of rentals and Section 8 housing vouchers, and then there's another thing called, and there's not as many as I understand it, MRVPs, which are another type of voucher, Massachusetts voucher. And they weren't the problem. You know, people had the vouchers. It was the housing. It was trying to find the housing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
then we also had another program. It was a stipend program through Chatham and Harwich. And it was, you know, helping other people who didn't have a voucher have some assistance with their rent.
Okay.
And they just went through a process to qualify for that. So they couldn't qualify for a Section 8 voucher, or they would have been on a list for years. But this took like $300 off their rent a month.
So that's what you're talking about with rental assistance, yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
a different, but not
Different
as
thing, yeah, it was
difficult
like-
to get as a Section 8.
Not as hard,
Okay.
exactly, yeah.
Cool.
But to Larry's point on the tax credit, you know, even though it may not create a ton of housing, it would create pockets.
It would help
And
out.
when you think about the fact that if your average tax bill's like $5,000, that's like $500 more in rent you're getting roughly. You know, not that you're
Right.
getting it, but you're not having to pay your taxes. So
Yeah.
it is a nice way, it's a creative way to create different types
Right.
of housing.
Yeah, and that would be based on like year-round,
Right, you
Yeah.
have to
Housing
follow
It would
the
have to be
same.
year-round,
and it wouldn't have to be necessarily affordable, it would just have to be year-round.
year-round, right. And then it wouldn't be a deed restriction, so it would be more appealing.
Right. Yeah. Again, I was just trying to jot down things that you.
Yeah, no,
that
it's
hear
great,
about
I just had
How we can
questions.
be creative to do maybe more stuff. Brendan?
One thing that pops up at all the forums, and next time we have Laura here, we can ask her from MHP, is the one mortgage, is the first-time home buyers. A brief description is borrowers whose total income does not exceed 100% of the area median income may qualify for the one mortgage program. Borrowers below 80% AMI may be eligible for a MHP subsidy. So I don't know if we can participate in that or help, but maybe I could follow up with Laura on that, get some more information.
Okay,
Because
that'd
I
be
see it everywhere. It always pops up.
Yeah,
It's a very similar program when I was in downtown Boston. The BRA would have a very similar, where they would, it gets you into a home, first-time buyer, let's say the unit's worth $400,000, it's $200,000 for what you can afford. And you get 5% compounded over the years if you ever want to sell it. So there's a little skin in the game as a homeowner, but it gets you into your first house.
that'd be
So
great. If
it's
you
a,
can
it's a buy-down program, and then there's incentive where, every year you get 5% compounded over the years.
Yeah.
So you can get some return on your money.
Good.
Which is kind of a nice program. But that's,
That'd be great. If you could follow up on that.
I'll track that down, because I see it on every forum, and it's always
Does
something. It's
anyone else
called,
want to take, to?
Because I feel like the CDP may even do a first-time home buyer, so it might be,
Yep.
okay, but Laura will know.
I think it's tied to this.
Okay,
I'm not too sure.
okay.
So my question is, how best do we pursue learning more about potential buy-down programs?
You're gonna check with Laura, do you want me to check with CDP,
I'll,
or?
I'll take on like the mortgages for first-time home buyers, see if there's any way that we can
Maybe
help or
Claudia, maybe
participate.
you and I can go after the buy-down.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I have, and we can try to get more
Yeah,
information
and
on
send me
that.
the buy-down stuff too, because it
Okay.
kind of
I'll-
correlates
I'll
with this.
send- I'll send that. The other one that, I'm not sure how much I got on it, but rehabilitation projects. It's not buy down, but, is there ways that we can investigate how we get people that have a place that needs work?
Yeah.
Well, again, the
Can help
CDP
'em.
has a rehab program, so it may be a model we can copy. It
Yeah.
doesn't apply to our town, because I asked them about a number of things that they do that Harwich isn't in their district, I don't believe. I could double check again. Yeah, I
Okay,
used to
we
be on their
follow-
board, so
okay.
I'm like trying to think of all the things they've already done.
You want to
so-
follow up on that then? 'Cause, maybe there's
Rehab
some-
program,
maybe there's-
just to see how they model it.
Yeah, maybe there's
okay.
something there we can do to help people
Yeah.
on housing.
Yeah.
And we're also, we just, I'm looking for the specifics, because we just signed a letter of support for a housing rehab program, and I think it was Christine Donovan, or Christy Donovan. I'll get back to you on that. I'll look for that information.
Okay,
Was just one person asking for it, or it's a
Well, no, it's
program there?
It's a group.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I'll get the info.
okay.
We were part of that last year too, I'm pretty sure, because we
Okay.
wrote a letter of support.
good.
Okay.
Other ideas, before I get to that, let me mention that, you probably know this, but Orleans has they've changed their trust bylaws to go to 200%, which is interesting about that, because, before you jump on me, Brendan, because I checked into this, because one thing that confused me was that 100% is based not on bylaws, it's based on HUD and state. But what they do, but if you change your bylaws, what you'd have to do then is, you'd have to work with Housing Committee, and we'd have to be thinking far enough ahead, so that if we bought property, we wouldn't use CPC funds for all of it, we'd try to get some other funds.
Right.
So we'd have maybe, make stuff up, maybe we have a project that's half affordable housing and half funding from town meeting and where we can get it from. And, which would be an interesting concept. It was one of the reasons I've been talking to Liz Harder about this some, and we, Ed McManus has a petition article, which when I talked to him, he couldn't, I was asking him to attend tonight. He's going to attend our next meeting to discuss that. He's in California's family matter. But he cut and pasted that from Orleans.
Yeah.
And they did they changed their bylaw, and then they did, what else do you have to do with that, Julie? There was 2 actions you had to take at the same town meeting.
So I think they have to probably petition to change the charter too.
They had to change the chart, yeah, so they do both, but it passed the last, it's all passed, so they've changed trust bylaw 200%, knowing, Brendan, before, as I say, to your point, they're not trying to cheat the system, but they're adding to it.
Right.
Yeah, their board's unique because they have the trust and the housing committee meeting all at the same time, and they vote on everything together. So their meetings are very unique.
Okay.
That's why I'm always saying if there's tasks that we can give the housing committee to do, they can go to CPC directly and do some, or we could be a direct funding source for them
Right.
for projects, so we can get stuff on the SHI list that's 80% or less.
Yeah.
So that's why they're just working to get, it's very unique on how they have it set up. And
So do we want, just on that point, sorry, on the rental assistance,
Yeah.
do we want to hand that off and just ask them to come up with some ideas around that? Or I don't know where we left that, I'm sorry.
I thought it'd be a great idea to let them,
Yeah, just to come up with a
I agree.
proposal on it or
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it'd be great to work with them. That's, it's an extra 4 or 5 people that can be helping out, so.
Yeah, and the
Housing
charge-
committee, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
the
that's right.
charge-
And they're-
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's a
and
good
they have-
idea.
Okay.
And they have a new committee, and they're very anxious to work with us.
Yeah.
And so we'll just,
Yeah, we should get them in for,
so we'll continue that. Because I say, to do the 200%, that demands that we work together. There's no ifs and buts about it. Bob?
I'd like to chase down more information about the rehabilitation programs.
Okay, good.
Options that might exist.
So I was gonna do that and get with the CDP to get their model. If you
Okay.
want, I can contact them and send it to you, or if you, whatever you wanna do, but,
I just want to search other places.
oh, okay, got it. Sounds good.
Don't want to jump on your CDP thing.
No,
No, that's-
I just meant, it's just one data point. I'll send it
Yeah,
to you. How
okay.
about that?
Fantastic.
Good.
It's going my way. Because it only works if we all work together on this. Are there any other
There's a lot to
ideas
do.
that we should, as I say, mine was a brain dump, but I'm thinking that we have to be creative if we're going to actually tackle the housing.
I think, I don't understand how the tax credit works. I think what I'm noticing, which I think we all see, is there's a lot of rentals available right now. Like I get pinged every time something comes up, and they're all starting at 2,500. It seems to be across the board. I don't know if that's, a lot of them I call on, and they're Davenport's new rental program. So, trying to think about whether that's tax credits or whether, again, I'm learning as I go, but what would be a way to incentivize people and to educate them as well on, what a realistic rent would be, because I feel like the people, I've talked to people recently, so I'm trying not to be specific, but just, there seems to be even a desire when I talk to people to be affordable. It's not in the range of affordable. So
Yeah,
I'm wondering
2,500
if
is
there's
not
a lack
affordable to
of
a lot of people, yeah.
understanding, like the information that we got from, that we've put together, with help on what we see as the need, but just, even if it was something in the newspaper that just said, this is the average income, this is the average rent, this is what actually would be affordable for a family of 4, just to let people know, because I think, I'm concerned that there doesn't seem to be a sense of reality, and I don't think it's about, increased costs on the part of the owner. I think it's that they understand they can get those rents. So I would like it if, even people that have contacted me, because again, they want to do year-round affordable, I'm not in a position to say that's not affordable just because of the way they came to me. But it's not affordable. So it would be good to get people who are really have a desire to do something good for the community, a better picture of what that would look like. Kind of a wordy way of saying that. So I don't know if
So I
that's
think our
tax
next-
credits? Is that like, how
Well,
would
I
that
think-
work?
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
I need to know better, as you raise this, is how tax credits work. We
Yeah.
talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know.
that's part of let's all investigate that and get back together and
Okay.
see what we can find.
All right, lovely.
Because that seems
I
to be
didn't know if you knew, so yeah, perfect.
I know what a tax credit is in general, because I'm fortunately getting some tax credit in my sewer line. I wish I didn't know, but I do. which is, money off the bottom line, so that's good. I'm not sure how it works with that. The other thing I've seen in the last, it came up today, is that Chatham actually have listed several times a request for acquisition, they call it. And they advertise their, basically, a request for proposal to find if anyone wants to sell property to the town for affordable housing. And interestingly enough, I found out today that they actually had one response, that they're about ready to buy a property at discount rate to move into affordable housing. And that may be something we want to consider too. It's an easy thing to do. They put it out and see if anyone, and they've apparently done it for a couple of years, like 2 or 3 times a year. They'll put it in the paper, and I'm not sure going back in history, but they have a bite now that it's working for them. So I don't know.
It'd be interesting to like incentivize it, like if you do, we'll pay your closing costs, or I don't know, like if there's a way to
No,
kind of,
that's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know, something, right? Other than just the goodness of their heart, but that's lovely too.
I like it. So we have, well, those are some things I think we can get information on. Again, let me ask you to do the same thing. I'm not apologizing for a brain dump, but, think about what else we should be doing.
Yeah, I did talk to, I talked to Tim Wood briefly, just because of his knowledge around the Marconi projects and the chop houses.
Okay.
Just to understand how those projects came about and what they entailed, and just get to understand them a little bit better. So, I'm gonna follow up with him just to kind of get that information, but then, people
Okay.
at Chatham may know too, but I know he's at, one of those, so he can
Good.
let me know.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Bob?
Yeah, I think that we still need to be paying attention to how we mobilize community support for housing initiatives. I'm thinking about that housing production plan that we were looking at, and all of the bottom end that has been losing so much over the past 10 years. How do we energize that piece of community? I think that's something that we need to be paying attention to. We don't have to solve it right now.
I want to solve it now. No.
Okay.
No,
In the
what I was
next
going to
5
say
minutes.
is
I
that,
like how all the questions go back to Larry to
Yeah,
answer.
right. We all just wheel around that.
Yeah.
well, one of the towns, unfortunately, I forget which one, one of our friendly Cape Cod town, and by the way, just digress just a second, this meeting today, they had a presenter from Brookline, right, Bob? Was saying that they had some argument with affordable housing, because they're saying, why do it in Brookline and not in Cambridge and stuff? And I commented that at least in the Cape, all our towns are working together. We don't, we have people that are against, are fighting us about housing for all the reasons we know about, but it's not town to town. We're all trying to increase housing. People are, I call around, we all do, right? Get information from other towns, and people just bend over backwards, give you any information they need. One of the towns, I forget which one, Bob, they've actually recently hired a consultant part-time to do just what you're saying, to publicize the program, housing, I forget the title. But let me dig up some information, because it might be worth some of our trust funds to hire someone that's their business, to mobilize support and get the information out and do all the things they're supposed to do. We've tried all, but maybe that's not something that's hard for us to do ourselves. But let me, Julie, you look like did that ring a bell to you?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, I read that.
I read that somewhere where they hired, it's one of our neighboring towns, like Brewster, Orleans, or
Yeah.
one of those. I forget which one, but I'll look again. But that may be, it's worthwhile exploring what it would cost. It may be worth some of our funds to do that.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about, I don't know if it's the same thing though, so I apologize, was on the housing committee, when I was on that, was putting together a website that would be sort of one-stop shopping, so that anybody who needs anything could go to that and go, okay, whatever the scenario, and we would try and brainstorm who would come to populate that, and so that we could make sure it was all there, even if it was links to, other towns or all the, like I have a friend who's looking at senior housing, and they're applying to every single town, so they have to do an application in every town, but even if we had the link to every single, something.
Right.
But anyways.
Right.
So that, again, may be a housing committee thing in terms of outreach and generating support and working on that web, but like you said, probably need somebody
Yeah.
helping with that, that's a lot.
Yeah. And to finish that thought, I think the housing committee has a new member that might be versatile on the web and all that stuff. That's something we may want to work together with, have one housing website. Go both ways.
Yeah, and
to
Matt
further-
Hemian was just appointed, I think.
Right, and he's the,
Yeah,
he may be the one that said was willing to look into that.
yeah, he's,
Because I commented, if he does that, think of us too.
yeah, yeah.
Because that would be a great opportunity to have a joint website, housing website to do it.
Yeah, I think that, I know somebody who was trying to put together a website for when people had affordable rent, or, not capital A, but just like reasonably rated apartments, that they could put them on this website so people on Cape Cod could find them. I'll reach out to them as well, but that would be something too, is to have something where, like, some of them were scenarios where it was somebody who had, I have land and I want to donate it, where do I go? And you put that like a giant FAQ, but I have a rental that, I'd like to make sure that the municipal employee gets. We had somebody who was like, we want to rent to fire and police. And it was like, okay, I don't know where to go with that, but
Right.
I do now, but yeah.
Okay, I think we've beat this up. But
No, good exercise.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and give me ideas for the agenda on each of these topics, and we'll come back to this. And Bob, you're right. We talked about this before, but add basically standing agenda item on where we are in the action plan. Maybe not every month, maybe like once a quarter would be something. To just be sure we haven't forgotten, because you must come from a company somewhere. I mean, that's a standard thing, to write a great plan and then file it away and never look at it again. I've done a few of those. And so I'll be sure we try to get that on the next agenda. Anything else? We've run to 5. Well, listen, the town, come on, who's in charge? Jamie, who's in charge of the clock here?
5:58.
Any more discussion?
Good.
Well, thank you all. That was, I think, and Bruce, and Christine, we didn't give you a chance to talk, but
No, the only update I would have is to encourage you all to go to the local comprehensive planning meetings. Community engagement forums are on Saturday, March 23rd, from 10 to 12 at the Cultural Center on the second floor
Yeah.
library, and on April 6th over at the Community Center from 12 to 2. So
Okay.
please spread the word. Housing is a huge item that will be discussed, so I hope you all can come.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine, can I just ask you to say that into the microphone so anybody that watches this meeting
yeah.
will have the benefit of that wisdom?
If everyone would come to the local community engagement forums as part of the local comprehensive plan, housing is a really important topic, as is land use and growth management and infrastructure, as well as open space and recreation. The meetings are Saturday, March 23rd, from 10 to 12 at the Cultural Center on the second floor at the library room. The second session is April 6th, which is also on a Saturday from 12 to 2. That will take place at the community center. So thank you all.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks.
Okay. If nothing else, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
The second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ah,
Well, we did pretty well time-wise.
did, yeah. That was pretty amazing.
I think we're a lot done.
Yeah.